All right, hello YouTube. Welcome to July.
It's crazy.
Happy 5th of July, right?
Over halfway to 2050.
Yes, indeed. That's true. But your wife isn't listening to this episode, so you can't destroy her with that. But
I can always throw it out in the next one too.
We are here in July, our first roundtable of July. Let's go ahead and hit the intro and get started.
The Dark Tower by Stephen King. The man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed. Go then. There are other worlds than these. Death, but not for you, gunslinger. It's time we had our own Palaver, I think, and it's going to take a while.
And yet, dauntless, the slug horn to my lips I set, and blew. Child Roland, to the Dark Tower came.
We are content, one from many. Let the Palaver begin.
Hello and welcome to Dark Tower Palaver. This is our podcast covering Stephen King's magnum opus, the Dark Tower series, and the extended King universe, because all things serve the tower. So, welcome. My name is Tad,
And I'm Peter.
and we already have some Ermot, emojis in the chat. I always love that. It's a good way to start the episode.
Unfortunately.
Good way to start July. Good stuff. Welcome into July, our first July episode proper. We did do a hangout yesterday where we discussed Never Flinch.
Yeah.
So that was fun. And of course, it's July, so that means I'm in the midst of reading my annual Stand reread. So that's a lot of fun. Always love that.
I actually started it today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, driving over.
It's a good one. So you're probably, a day or so away from the best chapter in all of Stephen King literature, chapter 23 of The Stand.
No.
Where Mr. Randall Flagg shows up,
No.
the hero of the entire King universe.
No.
So, what is is it the Greek one that holds the globe on his shoulders? Is it Atlas?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so he's like Atlas for the King verse. He holds it all on his shoulders. So.
No.
Let's go ahead and jump on into the introductions. First of all, I want to warn you about spoilers. This is a roundtable, so if you've not finished the 7 primary books of the Dark Tower series, this is not a safe episode for you. You want to stick to our book club episodes. With those, we stay where we're at or before. We don't really jump ahead in those. Those are safe episodes if maybe you're meandering through book 6 right now. Now, if you're meandering through book 3, you'd only want to be listening through the book clubs up through that portion you're on. But these are not safe episodes. In fact, it is not unheard of for us to spoil some large critical point before we even get through the introductions. So, not a safe episode. Next up, if you want to find the show, you can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can stream us on Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, or any podcasting service of your choice if you like the traditional fashion. You can also subscribe, rate, and review us on any of those. We'd appreciate that. And then we're here live over here on youtube.com/darktowerpalaver. You can join us live. Like, I know we at least have Baraki in the chat. I think the numbers keep fluctuating, so there may be other people that are being silent in the chat, but you can join live or you can watch after the fact if we're not aligned to your schedule. I understand it in the United States it's a holiday weekend, probably a lot of people out doing all kinds of shenanigans. Hopefully everyone still has all 10 digits.
Hopefully.
It is the day after. This is the first day of some people's lives post 10 digits.
Yep.
So, and then, if you on the YouTube side, if you could like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications, those are the ways to keep everything happy with the YouTube algorithms, which of course we know is just the predecessor of North Central Positronics.
Yeah,
So,
Blaine
eventually, in our world, if Blaine is to exist, it's going to come from either Google or probably Google, actually. I'd say Amazon, but I feel like Amazon's kind of a different route.
I think we got a third one that just hasn't shown up yet.
I mean, there's Apple.
Yeah.
They're a little.
I think we're gonna
actually,
have, out of left field, it's going to come in and be like.
Here's the thing, though. Amazon, they're more retailer for the customer facing, but it's actually shocking how much the Amazon server stuff is like the backbone of the internet.
AWS, yeah.
So, actually, if you think of it that way, if there's one company that could seriously, almost, set off a weapon of mass destruction just by shutting down their chunk of the internet, it would cripple the entire globe. It's Amazon. So,
That's comforting.
Yeah, that is indeed.
Thanks, Tad.
You're welcome. And then if you want to find the show notes, you can do that over at darktowerpalaver.com. Everything we're going to cover in today's episode, I'll have links to the full articles over there, as well as it's the link. You'll find links for all things Dark Tower Palaver. Then if you want to support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/darktowerpalaver. I mentioned we did our monthly hangout with Patreon. At any level, you get access to our hangouts. You get access to our chat where you can chat with us throughout the week. And if you're at the highest level, you get to co-host a show with us. And then if you want to contact us, Peter can let you know the ways to do that. If you want to send us some, Ermot stuff.
The best way to reach us is through email. It's show@darktowerpalaver.com. And then we have our threads and Instagram. It's Dark Tower Palaver, all one word, no spaces. And then check out our Blue Sky account. It's at darktowerpalaver.bsky.social. And then our Twitter is at darktowerpod. That's at darktowerpod. And then facebook.com/darktowerpalaver to find us there. And then you can get us some merchandise. It's tpublic.com/user/darktowerpalaver. Go pick up a hashtag Tad is Terrible sticker, t-shirt, mug, hat.
Or the real logo, like the one that's on the screen.
It's right there.
You're just in your own head, aren't you? You actually think that's the real logo. That's the sad thing.
I mean, it is the real logo.
I rest my case. All right, so before
it says it right above hashtag Tad is Terrible. So right there.
The slander.
It's above the Dark Tower, so it's even better than the Dark Tower. It's more truth than the Dark Tower. Whereas that logo has Dark Tower Palaver below the tower.
Yeah, the foundation underneath the tower.
No.
All right, so before we even dive over to the news, I do have, let's see, I guess, I don't know, I think I said announcements, but I guess there's a couple things in here. So, I don't know, week and a half or so ago, I don't remember what day it was, I got a little froggy and decided to figure out where our episodes are going to fall next year.
Yeah.
So we got that plotted out.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be kicking off 2026. I don't know what that typo is there. 2026 on January 17th. For this schedule, it would have us actually starting on the 3rd, but of course we're going to take that off for the holidays and to recharge a bit. So the 17th is when we're going to be kicking off. Now, one interesting thing is January falls as one of our 2 months that would have had 3 episodes.
Yeah.
If we did one on the 3rd. So with only 2, so that means that we will still have 2 episodes in January, but that does mean that we're only going to get 1 month of 3 episodes next year. So.
Yeah, which month is that?
Which, let's see, do I have that? I'll save that.
Okay.
So secondly, I decided last weekend while doing post-production on the episodes that I decided, you know what, I'm going to plot out the rest of Wizard and Glass. I wonder how much further we have to go. So along the schedule, I can now tell you, barring setbacks, of course, because we're windbags. When we will wrap on Wizard and Glass, and when we're going to begin Wolves of the Kala in our book club series. So, as I said, our windbaggery is legendary, and tangents happen.
All dates subject to change.
Yeah,
I will asterisk with that down in the fine print at the bottom.
I will say 9 out of 10 times we do hit what we intend to do. Probably 9.5 times out of 10. Like, it's very rare that we don't cover everything we need to. Also, if there is somewhere I made a mistake, that could also throw things off. I don't think I did, but I've never plotted out this many book clubs ahead before. Usually I'm just plotting out a couple here and like what chunks are going to read and stuff.
Yeah.
So the fact that I did such a huge swath, I'm like, there is maybe a chance that I screwed up something somewhere, but
room for error.
Yes. Any guesses?
September
Yeah. 26?
Yeah.
Okay. Not this year.
No.
So first, it looks like we're going to be finishing up part 3, which is the end of Roland's story, on March 28th.
Yeah.
So that's when we will be joining back up in Kansas with Eddie and Susanna and Oy and Jake. So that's when Roland's story, which we've been tracking that our entire book club series. But the final book club for Wizard and Glass will be on July 18th. So
just about a year from now.
Yeah,
a little over a year from now.
Little over a year. And then in August is when we'll begin Wolves of the Kala. But interestingly enough, August is when there's 3 episodes.
Hey.
So that means we're going to be starting Wolves of the Kala with a double header on the 15th and the 29th of August of 2026.
If those dates hold true, then you will be right about the prediction for how long Wizard and Glass will take.
Oh, did I predict?
I wrote them down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we made predictions. I said 4 years. You said 3.5 years. 4 years would have been May 21st, 2027.
Okay.
3.5 years would have been November 21st, 2026. So if we hold true, you're only a couple months off there.
Yeah,
Ted.
and I didn't go over. It's the Price is Right rules.
The Price is Right
So,
rules. Don't go over.
I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool,
Yeah.
and I will say it took everything in me not to like tell you beforehand. I've been sitting on this for a week, but I wanted to reveal it on the show.
Yeah, we
so.
did. We did talk about which schedule to do and everything last week. So that's where this all came from.
No,
Okay.
that was separate things.
that
actually.
This came after that.
Yeah, I was just figuring out the schedule. I think I was just I don't know what you'd say, procrastinating.
Yeah.
Procrastinating the doing post production on the episodes. I was in the middle of it, but sometimes you're just looking for distractions, and I decided that was a distraction.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, I don't know, a day or so, I was like, you know what? I wonder how this all looks.
Yeah.
And I ended up plotting it all out. So,
That's the tentative date right now. It could obviously change.
Yeah, I would say tangents or if I made a mistake somewhere are probably the main things. But again, we're we've been very good about not really going. We've been able to cover most of what we plot out. Now, of course, once we get a new book, we're going to be in that weird spot where we're going to probably take a couple episodes to figure out how much of the book we have to bite off. So, that is going to be interesting.
Oh, there's Agamorphy. Welcome, Agamorphy.
Let's see, what else did I do? Oh yeah, I also, while I was doing that, I did looked at the page count and word count of all the books because I was curious kind of where we're at. So I will say, with the way I have this thing checked off, it's checking off for complete books. So right now we have a total of 4,316 pages total in the series, and that is 1.3 million words.
Good Lord.
And currently, which the fourth book is not checked off, which means the entirety of the fourth book is not counted.
Right.
We are currently at 26% of the series that we're through in terms of page count. And actually 26.32% page count, 26.13% word count. So
what does it jump up to when we finish book 4?
When we finish book 4, which is the second longest book in the series, it'll put us up to 44%, almost 45. Actually 45 if you round it up. 44.5.
Still under 50%.
44.6, and then 45. I'd round that up to 45. So
It
that
shows you how big book 7 is.
Yeah, so the number one, of course, is book 7, which is 845 pages and 200, almost 250,000 words.
Yeah.
And then this one, I'm sorry. Yes, almost 250,000. 272,000 words to 254,000 for this ones that we're in the middle of. So it's a lot of words for sure. And then Wolves of the Kala is number 3. So we still have the weight of the series to go. But as of right now, and again, I know that's not really true. I didn't want to go and do the math on like where we're at page count wise. Currently, it's showing 26% that we're done. Once we check the checkbox, though, we'll jump up to almost 45%. So, that's kind of where we're at with the book clubs. So that is that. Let's go ahead and jump over to the next thing, which is Life of Chuck.
Yeah.
So we went and saw Life of Chuck. God, what was that now?
3 weeks ago?
Yeah, because last week, we've had 2 back-to-back episodes. Was it it was when we did the episode previous, right?
Yeah, so it was the 15th of June.
Yeah. We went and saw it here locally. We saw it the day after we recorded, I think. The day after we recorded the last roundtable is what it was. I mean, we can talk about it for a few minutes. What do you think?
It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, I think it's high up in the echelon for King overall.
Yeah.
And I will also say pretty high up there for the Flanagan realm.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think? Do you if you just had to like quickly throw Flanagan's King adaptations in an order, just not
Dr. Sleep, Life of Chuck, and
Gerald's Game.
Gerald's Game. Oof.
Yeah. Not that I'm going to hold you to it. This is just a shoot from the hip type. I
mean, I think it's Dr. Sleep, Life of Chuck, Gerald's Game. I think it's those 3
in that order. Okay. Yeah.
Dr. Sleep, man, that is so fucking good.
Yeah.
Especially that extended edition and everything.
Yeah.
Life of Chuck was really good, though. Gerald's Game, I mean, all 3 of them are fantastic.
They're all
movies.
incredible. Yeah. Flanagan hasn't missed yet. That's
not with King adaptation.
Not with King. I mean, God, has he missed anything though?
I don't know. I haven't seen everything.
Everything I've watched of his has been pretty great. Agamorphy also saw it. I think Agamorphy actually saw it early, if I remember right. I think Agamorphy, you're the one that commented on one of our videos that you were seeing it I don't know, it was a week or two before it came out, so you got a pre-screening if I remember right. So yeah, I really yep okay, that is correct. I will say though, yeah, I absolutely adored it. Great addition to the Flanagan family as well.
Yeah.
With Mark Hamill. No, he was in
Follow
Usher.
the House of Usher.
Yeah, but Tom Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston's first time.
Yeah.
Jacob Tremblay, right?
He's been in a few. He was in
Has he
Doctor
been-
Sleep.
Oh,
he was the
that's
baseball
right.
boy.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
God, was he in any of the series? Was he in Hill House? No, I don't think so. I'm confusing him with someone else. But yeah, I will also say that right after watching it, I did go back and re-download If It Bleeds and just listen through the Life of Chuck portion. And I will say I was pretty foggy on my memory. I had a couple moments that I really remember, but like the entirety of it, I didn't remember a lot of the details. And I will say on reading it, having just watched it, this is like kind of like the Mist level of like accurate. Like when you watch The Mist and then you go read The Mist, like there's extended chunks of dialogue that are exactly from King's novella. There are, the characters are the same. You have a lot of the same like confrontations. I mean, of course, the Darabont changed the end, but like it's one of those ones where outside of the end, like when you go through that and after you've read it, if you go and watch it immediately,
It's pretty close.
It's like holy shit, there's like entire sections that are like lifted straight from like whatever.
Yeah.
And Life of Chuck is the same way. I wouldn't have remembered that necessarily, but having gone and reread it pretty much the day after, or a couple days after I watched it, I was pretty shocked how many things were pretty much directly lifted from the novella. So I think Flanagan, I don't know. I haven't read Gerald's Game, but I will say this is more true to the source material than Dr. Sleep. Not saying that that's like a massive ranking that matters that much, because like ultimately he had to balance Kubrick and King when it came to Dr. Sleep, so I don't fault where he had to divert from the source material. But this one though was like damn near online,
Almost like beat for beat.
Yeah, it was incredible. Like full lines. I mean, he did keep the structuring. I was like a little bit nervous that they would change that. I'm like, I don't see how you could though. I feel like the reverse structuring is like so much a part of the story that I don't think you could tell it any other way. But you never know. So that was still there. And it was just great stuff. So
Brett asked in the chat, are you going to read Insomnia after you guys get done with Wizard and Glass or Salem's Lot? Brett, we're doing a book club where we're going through all 7 of the primary Dark Tower books. So after Wizard and Glass is going to be Wolves of the Calla. After Wolves of the Calla will be Song of Susanna. After Song of Susanna will be the Dark Tower. After the Dark Tower, most likely will be Wind Through the Keyhole.
For sure. And then after that is when we're going to start getting
after
into
that will be a discussion, but that is 3.5 years for Wizard and Glass, which is the second longest.
It is the second
novel.
longest,
so it is taking a little bit of time. We will have years to decide that before anything. Insomnia, Salem's Lot most likely will be saved for Patreon hangouts. We do that a lot where we do reads. Actually, our next 2 Patreon hangouts in July and August will be August and September will be The Stand. We're doing deep dive.
But I will say though that like we've discussed like basically keeping the book clubs going after we finish the series, and then just starting to plug in like the connected books where we actually would go line by line. Now of course we know that those would be nowhere near as like in depth, like they wouldn't be as connected to Dark Tower across the board, but it would be kind of fun potentially to go. I don't know. I don't think we have to worry about that.
Yeah, that's years down the road for us.
We're almost approaching our 10-year mark, and we're not even halfway through in terms of word count and stuff.
Right.
So, but I do think that there's been some thought about what we might do
post primary.
Well, then we
books,
also have Little Sisters of Illyria.
We have to go through that. We haven't done the comics as well. We still need to do those.
Also,
I don't know if those will be book clubs or not.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to say about Life of Chuck?
I think Tom Hiddleston nailed it, but it was one of the interesting things. I do want to notate what we said when we were driving to get food afterwards. Is there a main actor? Like, if you were going to nominate someone for Best Actor for
it's going to be Tom Hiddleston because he's, like, on the poster. Right. He's the first thing credited. But, like, if it comes down to, like, true, like, it's kind of like in that realm where you see like some of these movies where people are like, oh well, that character wasn't really the lead because they're not in it as much. Like Django Unchained is one that I've heard where it's like people are like, Django's not really the main character, like he's not in it as much. There's other characters that are in it as much, if not more, than he is. And
the one that always sticks out to me is Silence of the Lambs with Anthony Hopkins. How much screen time he had and everything like that. So Agamorphy says Hamill likely for best supporting. This movie's going to get a lot of the nominations. I
hope so. I
really hope it doesn't get snubbed.
The summer release makes me nervous on that because I do think that if this were coming out in September, I think it would be a lot. And it also, the sad thing is it's not just on its own merits. A lot of times these studios have to go and put like campaigns behind these films and stuff. And I just don't know what Neon's plans are. I think they could though. I also wonder if they could put up like Flanagan for best adapted screenplay. Stuff like that. Cause I do think that, I just think the thing that makes me nervous is this release date. I think if it were coming out 6 months later, closer to the end of the year.
That's Oscar season, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it was one thing to put it out in summer. I think that, showed they had a lot of hope that it could be, do some decent business and stuff.
It did do really well in the festivals and stuff like that it was in. So I wonder if that is going to hold some weight for it, maybe.
Hopefully.
So
I know winning the People's Choice at TIFF is one that statistically more of them getting Oscar nominated after winning that award than not. So there is that.
That's what I'm wondering, if they're like, well, we don't need to wait a whole year to put this out. It won awards and it's done really well at festivals. Let's just put out for summer release and then just see what we get.
Yeah.
It's not like Neon's going to be out a ton. They didn't put a whole lot into it, right?
Yeah, and Agamorphy says, I don't know, it is so weird for Oscar nomination, and there's that aspect of it as well. It is a very strange film, but I do think that ultimately what I loved about it is I think that maybe even more than King himself, I think Flanagan really made this a very like upbeat and hopeful thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that King's was necessarily like bleak or grim.
No.
I think it had like an element of like the same like elements of like I Matter and all that kind of stuff that like the Chuck stuff, but I think that like Flanagan hit that note a lot harder to where I do feel this one felt a lot more like hopeful and positive. Like what I was telling someone that there was asking me about it is I was like kind of the way that Ted Lasso took the world by storm in 2020 because everything was so fucking depressing that show was just like an absolute breath of fresh air to everyone. I feel like this is the same kind of thing, and I don't think that we're necessarily that much better in terms of overall.
No, there's definitely a lot of shit going on that a lot of people want something good and uplifting.
Yeah, and I think this is another version of that where I think anyone that did go and see it, probably came away feeling pretty great. I saw a number of wet eyes as we were leaving.
Yeah.
I also kind of, the vibe I got from the people there, I don't think a lot of people knew it was like a King thing.
No.
There's some older ladies and stuff, and good stuff, though. I really love this movie a lot. I really wish it was a broader release because I would have loved to go see it again. But I honestly don't think it's in theaters here. I think that it's kind of moving around the country because it was a fairly limited release. Like when you see a broad theatrical release, you'll see 3,000 to 4,000 screens. I want to say this is somewhere in like the 1,500 screen realm. So usually what that means is it kind of moves almost like a band on a tour where like it'll be in Utah, then it'll be in Denver, then it'll like whatever. I mean, it's in multiple cities at once, but like it's not necessarily in every city all at once at the same exact time.
The theater we went to go see it at, which is one of the premier theaters here in the Salt Lake Valley, has one showing today at 10 p.m. That's it. That's all.
You're tempting me.
I'm just letting you know it is there.
10 p.m.
That's a late showing, but if you wanted to see it again, it is still there.
That is true. Maybe I'll have to look it up. The problem is that our go-to theater is only a 14 screen place.
Yeah.
It's like the place you really are going to find this movie a lot is more of like your 20 plus screens. But
there's a 5:20 showing tomorrow evening.
What's that?
There's a 5:20 showing tomorrow evening.
Interesting. Brett says, okay, the reason I asked is I just finished Wizard and Glass, and I heard that Salem's Lot heavily connects to Wolves of the Call. And it certainly does.
Yeah.
I think that for us, though, with the kind of granular way that we're going about our book clubs, we kind of want to get the Dark Tower stuff, get through that first, because, like, just the amount of time we're taking, I think that if we got into an extended reading order, we may not be alive to get to that final line of the seventh book. Because, I mean, you see some of these extended reading orders, they might be 20 books deep, because some of them are heavier connections like Salem's Lot. There's other ones that are a little bit smaller connections, But some of those
they have this. The Stand is obviously very connected.
but then also
But
the Stand is the longest book in King's entire library. So it's like, imagine what a book club for the Stand would look like. I mean, that's going to be fucking 6-7 years right there. Yeah. So that's the reason that we're going to go through the Dark Tower stuff first. But the interconnected stuff is probably stuff that we would prioritize. I think over the years we've kind of talked about that kind of in a wishful way of like, man, what's going to happen when we run out of Dark Tower books, which seems silly because we probably thought about that 7-8 years ago, and here we are, and we're not even to the tail end of the book.
Yeah,
we're not even to the King's accident yet. It hasn't even happened with where he's writing right now.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a ways away, but yeah, you're all right though. There is some connections to Wolves of the Call with Salem's Lot, so
Absolutely.
You're definitely not incorrect there. All right, so that's it on Life of Chuck. We did want to just briefly talk about it. It is a great movie. Highly recommend it to anyone if you do have a chance to see it. The other thing is I can't wait for it to come out like on home video, which I do know that Neon's pretty good about home releases and stuff, as well as once it hits streaming. So, Life of Chuck, great stuff. Another banger by Flanagan doing Stephen King stuff.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and move on over to the next one we got here, which is King updating us on Talisman 3.
Is almost done.
On his social media. So he posted, let me get to the, where am I at here?
King Threads, July 4th.
I'm trying to get to the thing that changes because I got multiple, posts here. So this was on his Threads account on July 4th, 2025, and then there was actually one of these. The last one actually came out this morning. So his first one he posted, he said, Talisman 3 is almost done. That's great. I'm 100%. I'm just saying book it now, 2026.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I know there's a lot going on, like, in terms of, like, you got to go through the editorial process, like, revise it, whatever. But I do have a feeling that even if it's, like, later in 2026, I have a feeling that we will be getting it next year. And then the second one he posts, somebody responded to him and said, I'm so excited. I just completed my 11th journey to the tower. I can't wait to see Jack and Speedy Parker meet up with Roland's quartet. And then hopefully, in parentheses.
Yeah.
And then King reposted saying, speaking carefully, no spoilers, I think you'll find yourself in Midworld again when you read T3.
So that's like 100% confirmation. We already kind of like figured that, but
because King, I mean, he had already been saying pretty heavily, like, going back, so glad to be back in Midworld. And there was a bunch of things that at the time we weren't sure, was he writing a new Dark Tower book?
Right.
Then there was the Talisman 3, like, or talk, and we kind of understood that, like, okay, these are probably connected. Then at one point he finally said, like,
the territories in Midworld are the same thing.
One and the same. So it's like, there's been a lot there. The one thing I will say is this person that tweeted at him here said, can't wait to see Jack meet Roland's quartet. King didn't deny that at all. He just said that, we will find ourselves in Midworld in Talisman 3. And I'm just find it interesting that he didn't just throw water on that and go, well, probably not going to meet Roland and the friends, but we will be in Midworld.
I mean, he's not James Gunn, so. I mean, and of course, just for speaking for Tad.
Just hook it to my veins!
Can't wait.
Yeah, indeed. So I'm going to pencil in right now a reread for Talisman and Black House at the beginning of next year. I think I'll probably like put a pin in it and say like January. I'll have it tentatively written in for January to start Talisman. And then read that through and then do Black House, and I'll be.
Ooh, that's interesting for me. You just introduced a new conundrum for me, sir.
What's that?
Well, my wife is about 2 hours away from finishing it. She is in the confrontation in the sewers. Like, we got a new piece of furniture delivered, and she was building it. She loves doing that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And she had her headphone in, and she's listening, and she's like, "Oh my god, Eddie just got his arm eaten." And I'm like, "Oh shit, she's like really close to done."
Yeah.
And I'm wondering what I'm going to put her on next. I wonder if I should put her on Talisman and Black House. The time that she takes to read and listen, Talisman, Black House, it'll be her time for her first King release.
Yeah, Talisman 3.
Yeah.
Let's see. Agamorph says it's a must buy for me. Let's see. And then so then we've got we're not done yet.
Oh, we're not done yet. But wait, there's more.
So we have a third one where someone replied and said, I didn't even know there was a Talisman 2. And Talisman 1 is my favorite book of yours and Peter's. I've been slacking. Mea culpa. And then King responded and said T2 is Black House. In T1, Jack Sawyer is 12. In Black House, he's 42. In T3, he'll be 57.
Oh.
It's been an interesting life, is what he said there. That's interesting to me that there's people out there that never made that connection.
Yeah.
That's kind of it. Like,
it's one of those ones that does not say like sequel to Talisman or anything like that, or Black House, Talisman 2, Talisman 2, Black House. No, if you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
Like I could see that because I remember reading it. I remember looking over like King's extended content list and everything like that, and I'm like, Black House, what's this about? And I started reading like the synopsis, and I'm like, wait, why does that sound familiar? And then I like when it looked at Talisman, which I hadn't read yet, and I'm like, I had to like look it up, and I'm like, oh, that is a sequel. Okay.
Yeah. One of his earlier sequels too. I mean, Dark Tower doesn't count because that was always meant to be a series. But in terms of like full-on sequels, like King really got into the sequel realm last decade with Doctor Sleep in 2012, the Mr. Mercedes, which obviously started as a singular book but then became a series.
Yep.
But King kind of gotten sequel heavy here in his later years. But Black House, again, Dark Tower aside, because Dark Tower's different and special. Kind of interesting though. Then we do have one more. So then someone responded saying, forgive me for asking, but isn't Jack in his 30s in Black House? T1 takes place in the early 80s and Black House takes place in 01. There's a reference to Bush Jr.'s Florida election happening the previous year. So most likely he'd be 34 to 35, wouldn't he? Imagine that, sniping at King. But King says he's right. King responds, and he says, I signed up to Threads just to ask you this. My love for your work exceeds my loathing for Zuckerberg's. And then King responded, gosh, you're right. Jack Sawyer was born in 1969.
So that means he's probably a little bit younger in Talisman 3 then.
We don't know.
Shift the age back. Oh, maybe Talisman 3 takes place when he's 57.
Well, yeah, it looks like King made a mistake on the Black House age.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that he was shifted both back. So I don't know if 57 is still the age or if he's...
The logic behind me saying that is that 10 years, it's 42 to 57, so 15 years. So 15 years after the events of Black House is Talisman 3.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking is like... He does that a lot, especially with like his sequels. Hey, it was 10 years after this event, kind of thing. So that's what I was thinking is that if it is that, he would have to shift both of them, shift the Talisman 3 age to match it.
Yeah, Agamorphy says this is further evidence why Robin Firth is so integral.
Oh, yeah. This is very clear that Robin has not gotten their hands on it yet.
Yeah, exactly. She has not got brought in on the, on this tweet.
Ultimately. Obviously, he said it's almost done. So
yeah, and it's not like he's like Black House is the one he got a mistake. He mistook the age, and that's the other thing too. Is since he's been writing this, I have to assume that 57 is probably the actual age, but he just screwed up the math in his head for Black House, which is fine because Black House is written and that's on our bookshelves and stuff, so there's no mistaking there. But pretty interesting, pretty exciting, because of course King was giving us a lot of hedging. Where he was kind of giving us this idea of like, sometimes I start books and, hit a roadblock somewhere and sometimes they never come to fruition, which of course I know famously like The Stand hit one of those roadblocks and stuff. I think now with the social media age, King is obviously he's communicating more with his fans, so to reveal to people what he's writing in real time is probably a newer thing for him. So I think he did kind of hedge it into the sense where it's like this, this isn't a promise that this will come to fruition. So there has been a part of me that's been kind of bracing for, bad news. So this is very, very good news for me. Also, let's not forget one of the very first things he said when Peter Straub passed away was that Peter had sent him a letter with some ideas for a third Talisman book. And he said that if he ever decided to get around to it, it would be a long one.
Yeah.
And I think he made long all caps. So I don't think that we're in for a short little book here. I think we might be looking at I'm not going to guess it's going to be in the 11/22/63 It or The Stand level of long, but I do think that we might be kind of more in the 600, 600 to 700 page book, which is hefty, not necessarily like one of these 400-page books that we've been getting in the last couple of years, which are fine for sure.
Yeah.
But of course, very titillating because it sure sounds like it's pretty much been confirmed now that
it's almost done.
That Midworld is also,
and Midworld is
we will find ourselves in Midworld.
Brett does. Oh, where'd it go?
He deleted it.
Okay.
All right. So,
do you know what the top 5 longest Stephen King books are?
No, I mean, I have the Dark Tower thing that I created, but the rest of them, I know The Stand is number 1. But beyond that, I don't know where the
I'm just curious because you said The Stand in 11/22/63.
Just
so.
those are the ones that come because as one that early on in the days of Audible when I was exploring King, the very first thing I did is I wanted the long ones even if I read them before, and I went and bought the ones that were high 30s or into the 40 or 50 hour range, and I think those books all kind of fall in that realm, so those are probably the heaviest hitters in my mind. I'm not really looking at the extended quartet thing right now, or the count list. I do think book 7 is probably up there as well. Let's see. Yeah, it
depends on if you go by word count or page.
Yeah, page is more common.
Okay. Dark Tower is number 6. Insomnia is number 5.
Oh yeah, Insomnia is a long one too.
Number 4 is 11/22/63. Number 3 is Under the Dome.
Oh yeah, that's a long one too, for sure.
Yeah.
Which is actually one I still don't have in my Audible. I bought that in hardcover when it first came out, read it through that way. I want to say that maybe before I got into Audible and I was dabbling in I can't remember if it was Apple or someone, but I bought a couple audiobooks and they're now long gone because I've lost my Apple account because I don't really care. But I think I bought it there. Same with It, because remember at one point a couple years ago when I discovered that It wasn't in my library, and then when I traced back and realized oh shit, I bought It on Apple or something like that. And Under the Dome was that way. So I've never actually purchased Under the Dome on Audible. So that makes sense though, because that is a really, really long one. I remember thinking that was a fatal book when you're holding it in your hands there.
This is wrong. ChatGPT has this wrong.
Yeah, it's wrong all the time, sir.
Yeah.
You can't trust it.
Dark Tower 7 is 845 pages. Insomnia is 787 pages, but it has Insomnia longer than Dark Tower.
Yeah.
Number 2 and number 1 are It and The Stand, obviously.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. So, let's see. Also, Brett, am I getting the sense that you're reading through your first time? Just earlier, the question on the Salem's Lot thing sounded a little bit more open-ended, where I'm like, hopefully...
You did mention that he is... Okay, be warned. We do spoil the series in Roundtables.
Yeah, Roundtables are not necessarily the safest if you've not finished the series. In fact, the next...
Tad's got something that's spoiling.
The next article might be very spoilerific, so... It might not be a safe episode going forward. Maybe you missed our the intro when we gave warnings there.
Yeah.
But I will change over the slide, but definitely, Brett, you may want to back out because the next one is talking about the end of the series.
Yes.
So, let's see. Agamorphy, walk away for 10 minutes. And 10 minutes, it's hard to say with us. But
yeah, we're long-winded and tangent centric.
Yeah, indeed. He did finish Wizard and Glass, so the next article after this is Dark Tower as well. But he's finished enough to that would be fine. But this one, not so much. So, and this one is titled "A Chance to Succeed Where Other Adaptations Failed." Mike Flanagan's Dark Tower needs to change the ending. And this is by Alyssa Avina from Game Rant on June 15th, 2025. So she starts, and again, spoiler warning for the Dark Tower series. I'm glad that sunk in finally, where I was like, wait, he was asking about Salem's Lot.
Yeah.
Like, is he a new reader that hasn't?
Yeah, because he was saying when I just finished Wizard and Glass. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, and then just the open-ended. It wasn't a statement that like, oh yeah, there's connections to Salem's Lot. Like, I'm glad I thought about it because literally, and good thing the King adaptation stuff or the King Black House or stuff or Talisman. I don't know why I keep calling it Black House recently. I've been having a hard time saying like Talisman 3. I keep saying like Black House. Like I don't know why.
The Black House sequel.
I do really love Black House. I will say I liked Talisman, but Black House I really dug a lot until I read. what was it, Dark Half. I think that I
Yeah.
was saying that Black House might be the closest to a King slasher we've ever had.
Yeah.
Also, I did see something not too long ago with King where he was kind of trashing on slashers. I don't think he's a fan of my favorite my favorite subgenre of horror. All right, so diving in now. Again, spoiler warning. In fact, let's
Warning.
There we go.
Spoilers ahead. Warning.
Just in case.
Spoilers ahead. Warning. Spoilers ahead.
I think that's the second time that's ever happened where we've had someone who's like, yeah, I for sure have not finished the series. We had that one person years ago.
Yeah, we
I
spoiled it
think-
at death.
I think she was like, yeah, I haven't finished it. We're like, we've already spoiled the ending. She's like, yeah, I don't care.
No, it wasn't even that. It was
No, it
like
wasn't.
it was. I think it was one of the ones where it was early in the show too,
Yeah.
very early. That
One of our early live shows. Yeah.
one of the two very tragic things in the final book was
Yeah.
brought up very offhandedly.
And they're like, wait, oh yeah, that's right. She was like, wait, Oi dies? And we're like, oh.
I mean,
Ooh.
it's Stephen King, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Did we expect any different? He's a monster,
Absolutely.
and he must be stopped.
I mean, he is the king.
I mean, he didn't just kill the Saint Bernard up front like he should have, because they're monsters.
No.
So,
No.
indeed. So Alyssa starts off by saying that one of the most difficult things any creator has to do, can do, is to adapt an already existing popular franchise, be it a video game, a comic book, or a book series. While creators want to leave their own mark on something, fans want fidelity to the source material, and that balance can be tough to manage. Of course, we've seen that over the years quite a bit.
That's always kind of baffled me with, like, the creator aspect of it. Like, I get you want to do your own thing, but if you want to do your own thing, go do your own thing. Like, why are you adapting something then if you want to do your own thing and make your own mark on it and stuff like that? It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'm taking someone else's work, but I want to make it mine and change the base elements of it and the core that makes it what it is. That's what bothers me, is when people do that. It's like, did you understand the source material? Do you understand what you're doing? Like, you made Resident Evil a romantic comedy. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. I will say, I mean, there are people that put their own mark on things and end up making it better as well.
I'm not
so-
but that's what I'm talking about. Is like Frank Darabont is a perfect example of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He absolutely changed the ending to The Mist,
Yeah.
but the rest of it,
Yeah.
like you were saying earlier,
yeah.
is pretty damn close to the
Pretty-
source material.
yeah.
You know, he didn't make The Mist.
But I guess what I'm saying is,
Sentient.
I think you're going one step further than you necessarily need to, because I do think there's a way to leave your mark on something without changing the core foundation of what it is.
Yes, like the okay, perfect example is The Mist.
Yeah.
Mist by Frank Darabont. That movie, perfect example of an adaptation where you leave your mark and you make it better than the source material, but you stay true to the source material.
Yeah.
Mist the show, where you have sentient Mist, is the dumbest fucking thing I've still ever heard.
Yeah.
That is where you ruin the core elements of it.
Yeah.
Same thing with, like, I've beaten this drum so many fucking times. I'm going to do it one more time. The ending to Firestarter, the movie. The movie would have been one of my favorite adaptations of all
movie.
time. The second one.
Yeah.
The newest one.
The newest, yeah.
But to make it so that she goes with the man who murdered her father is the dumbest thing on the planet.
Yeah. Now, one thing I would do love about the idea of a Mist show is Mrs. Carmody for hours and hours and hours. Just imagine that.
Where she's just preaching or something.
You just have to deal with her for not just an hour, 90
Dude,
minute or an hour or 90-minute movie.
I'll tell you right
but-
now, if that actress ever made a Mrs. Carmody podcast where she's just spouting off her sermons and stuff like that, I legit would probably break things listening to it.
Oh, I love the spirit of it. So she goes on and says that the one question that Flanagan needs to ask is whether the ending needs to change in this adaptation for the Dark Tower series.
That's
Yeah,
Really?
I'm very adamant that they should not. Now I understand that, like, I was very pro what the movie was doing when they announced very early on that he
Right.
would have the horn. It's like, okay, so this is going to act as a sequel, and like if we end up getting all the movies and shows that were supposed
Yeah.
to be there, like we may actually get a different ending. But since then, I've come around to the idea that I feel like the ending is kind of the red wedding of this, where it's like
It's the point.
it's one of the most definitive aspects of the experience of reading this is the end.
Yeah.
And that's not in a way to where it's like, oh, if it gets spoiled, it's going to ruin everything for you. It's just a matter of, like, so much of what makes this special is the way that King ended it, and I think that it would be a kind of a crime now in retrospect to rob the movie audience of that.
Yeah.
You know, I just think that like
or
it's-
series
or
audience,
series, yeah, like
the audience, yeah.
the watching audience that may be exposed to this for the first time, that's never read the book, that's never
Right.
read a word, that may never read the books themselves. Like
Yeah.
I think that it's an aspect of the story that is so much a part. I mean, how many times have we talked about the end over the course of the almost 10 years we've been doing this show?
A lot.
Like it is. I mean, we've talked about a lot of things a lot, but you know, the heroics of Randall Flagg for one.
The absolute monster that Randall Flagg is.
But the ending is probably, if we had to like get some kind of like super sentient AI to go through and listen to every word of ours and calculate out the amount of minutes we spent on anything, I have to imagine the ending is probably going to be the number one like story element.
Number one would be me yelling at you that Randall Flagg's a bad guy. That's absolutely going to be like the highest one.
I mean, you're wrong, but that
No, I'm not.
No, you're wrong about that Randall Flagg's a bad guy. You know?
Welcome, David. Yeah, we're reading an article from Alyssa Avina from Game Rant, who's saying that there possibly needs to be an end change for Flanagan's adaptation of The Dark Tower.
Yeah, and I'm just pausing it to say that I have evolved, because like that very first image we ever saw of the movie was the horn, and said, what is it, one last time or one more time? There was something along that gave us the vibe from the very, very first thing we ever saw of the movie, gave us the idea that, oh my God, he's going to have the fucking horn. This whole thing's a sequel. And I do think that there is some merit to that storytelling aspect, but like I said, long term, the more I've thought about it, the more I've thought that like, no, it's too big a part.
Last time around is what it says.
Yeah, which gives you more of an impression that it's the end. It's like Ned Stark dying as well. Like there's those couple moments in Game of Thrones, like those are the definitive moments of the series, like of the whole thing, right? That's the reason HBO came out and said, like, when the Red Wedding was going to happen, they're like, you guys sure you still want us to do this? Or like, the reason we signed this show is for this. Like, so like it's and I think that kind of the end is a big part of that for this. I think it's one of the biggest charms of this series. There's some other charms for sure, and great things. We can go on and just spend an entire episode listing all the things we love, but I think the end is one of them. So I think that I'm to the point now where I'm not opposed to the idea of maybe Flanagan doing an alternate ending and maybe a post-credit scene. It's something where like you maybe film two versions of it, and then somewhere down the road you film like, what does it look like? I don't know how that works, because you'd probably want to change the entire thing. But there is part of me that like, I do think the primary end that the audience gets, the person that's never picked up a Stephen King book, that never will pick up a Stephen King book, but stumbled on this show on Amazon Prime or HBO or whoever it is and became a big fan of this, like, I want them to experience the story as is personally.
Yeah, I think the big thing with The Dark Tower that makes it so polarizing for us is the ending. Is that's what draws us back. That's what sucks us in, is that how many times, I mean, we've had, I think at least three episodes talking about different ideas with the ending.
Yeah.
You came to your...
more than that.
Oh, yeah, at least three.
Yeah.
I know of at least three off the top of my head.
I think one of the first 5 episodes we ever did
One of the first 5 episodes was the ending.
End, yeah.
Then we had another one where I had a theory that I thought of, and then you had one where you had a theory that you thought of.
Yeah.
And it's still currently the theory that you're holding
and
to,
for me,
is that
I've
Flagg wants Roland to break the cycle.
I've had a couple of those over the years too, because every time I read the book, I feel like I kind of come away with something different on how I interpret the ending.
And there's so many people that have that break the cycle theory, and we've had discussions about it. Is like, well, when does he break the cycle? Is it book 1? Does he cry off and take Jake and walk away from the mountains? Well, what happens with the breakers?
Yeah.
Does the breakers only happen because Roland dropped Jake? There's all these discussions and everything like that. And all of that exists simply because of the ending that we have. And I think that's one of those things that the ending to this series could be what brings people back to it. Because think about it. If Flanagan, and I trust Flanagan to do this,
the open-ended nature.
If you leave it where it's a cycle and it repeats, you could very easily hide Easter eggs in there.
Oh, yeah.
Where first time watching, me and you are going to be Leo memeing every fucking episode with that.
Yeah.
But my wife won't.
Yeah.
My wife's never read The Dark Tower. My wife's never, she knows it by osmosis just because I talk about it so goddamn much.
Yeah.
But my daughter is 12 coming up, she could be watching it. She wouldn't know all these little things. She wouldn't know that, why does Eddie seem familiar? Why does Eddie, not, and all the...
Know how to ride a horse.
Yeah, all that's a great example.
Yeah.
Why does Eddie know how to ride a horse? Why does Jake know instantly what to do with Oi on a horse and put the bumbler in the poncho and everything like that? So it's like,
It is a dangerous decision for a child to let a Billy Bumbler get that close to
You
him.
stop it.
Right, but near the throat,
You
too.
stop it.
Right near the throat.
Stop it.
That could be the end of him. She then goes on to say that the ending is a gut punch, and how they film Roland having the horn, or how the film had Roland having the horn, gave the idea that there may be an eventual plan that may see an ending that may be different. And she said that is a smart choice. She said that rather than making a straight copy of the book, the series could go for the same idea of being a spiritual follow-up to the books, as a way to keep it fresh for readers while giving newcomers their introduction to Midworld. And then also in the chat, we have a couple things too.
Yeah. Baraki says, I would want the end to show as the book, then have a follow-up movie with the cycle break, if they could do it well enough. Agamorphy says, yet for some devoted readers, that ending was bad. There will be some haters. Oh, there's going to be haters.
100%.
There's going to be haters no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you right now, I know people who hate ambiguous endings.
Yeah.
You know, I'm coming to see a story. Don't leave it off and not tell me what happens. I know several people who are like, that's a cop-out. That's bullshit. Like, you know, is Michael Myers alive or dead at the end? I don't want a question mark. I want to know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here to hear a story beginning to end. I actually used to think this way when I was a teenager. I didn't like open-ended stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't see the point of it. But then I started reading Stephen King, and I kind of understood it a little bit more, and it grew on me and everything, because especially one thing that you said, it stuck with me through all the decades that we've been friends, is that, well, if you leave it as an open ending, then each person makes it their own individual ending.
Yeah, and the amount of hours we spent talking about the ending is only that way because it's not a period or an exclamation point where King has spelled everything out for you.
If the ending is Roland climbs to the top of the Dark Tower, and it's you saved me, and a pulse went out through the universe, and the universe healed itself. The end.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Good job, Roland. Roland is actually the good guy. There is no debate about that. We settle all those debates about Flanagan, Roland, and everything like that. We settle about if he should have cried off, shouldn't have cried off. Very obviously, he shouldn't have, because he fixed the universe and everything like that. That changes all of that conversation and everything. So that's where it's just like,
yeah. And earlier, David also says, I would love for the ending to be the way it is in the books. I think, let's see, I think you got through most of the others of these here.
I know right where we're at. Baraki does say, especially that bumbler, not letting that bumbler inside the poncho. That
he's got the taste for blood.
I am tired of the slander of our most beloved, second most beloved character of all time. I still think that Eddie by one vote.
Yeah.
I mean,
he has the taste for blood now.
You stop that.
That's it.
There's never going to be a time where I hear somebody say Mike Myers and I don't picture Austin Powers.
Go to hell, Powers.
just for you, David. Agamorphy says King has written worse ambiguous endings. I'm curious. What do you think? Which ones? I'm just curious. No judgment. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think that the ending. There's no way Flanagan changes the ending.
No, and I don't think so.
In my belief of Flanagan.
She kind of does. She said apart from the flashbacks, maybe Flanagan could have Roland struggling with memories of the past journey to the tower. That's an interesting thought. Mm-hmm. So not just like the flashbacks of like young Roland stuff throughout, but imagine if he's also having like faint flashes
what
of
if,
like.
What if that's one of his superpowers kind of things that he has? Is he's like, he knows what's going to happen, which is why honestly, when you look at it, where a lot of things go off without a hitch. Like the Wolves of the Kala, there's no way that we should have come away with that with only 2 deaths, and one of them simply because of an accident that happened where the boy broke his ankle and everything.
Yeah.
Like, actually, both of the deaths came as a result of that, because Benny should have never been in that ditch.
Yeah.
He should have been up. So I guess one death. But they came off basically unscathed. The quartet came out full. After the Battle of Agosiento, they came out almost full until Eddie's demise. I wonder if the next cycle Eddie would have survived. So what if that's the ending, is that Roland knows enough, remembers enough, it's instinct. No, it's just fucking memory.
Yeah.
That's why he's able to mow down the town of Tull. Like, he knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Like, if you read that again in The Gunslinger, he's like, yeah, I'm about to get ambushed. All right, let's fucking do this. Because he knows that he can survive it. because he's done it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I wonder if, dude, that's kind of interesting. I wonder if Roland has that in the back of his head. There's a little voice that's like, this is what's going to happen. And then he knows.
Yeah. No, it's not a bad thought. I will also give her, I have one more line to kind of recap, but she points out the mind splitting in book 3 as an example of the book using the idea of struggling with other realities. Not exactly a one-to-one example, but I take her meaning. And she also kind of does go and kind of talk about how, like, if there is one person that was going to change things, it's Flanagan. She would trust to do it.
Yeah.
And I think kind of in the vibe of that, like, ultimately, if he were to change it, he would do it in a way that was still respectful of, like, the core elements. Because I think you're right. Like, I don't think that Flanagan's going to change it. But I think that if it were to be changed, he's probably the best person to do it, because he'll do
Flanagan, I trust.
He'll do it in a way to where, like, I think it would still work. Like Dr.
Honestly,
Sleep. Dr. Sleep,
yeah.
there was a lot of heavy, reconstructive surgery that he had to do on that story because of the Kubrick film alongside King's book. But he did it masterfully. He did it in an incredible way. So I would trust him, but I do think that if Flanagan were to come to me and ask, I would say let's keep the ending the way that it is in the book, personally. So, that is that article. Let's go ahead and let me get the next one queued up here. Next one, and this one actually sparked a little something for me. So this one's titled "The Dark Tower." This actress from Life of Chuck would be perfect as this character's mother. And as you can tell by the screen, if you're just listening, the title, that's the title, but the picture shows Tom Hiddleston as Chuck. You got Roland on the side, and then you got the comic version of Gabriella Deshane. So there's a little bit of a spoiler for what we're going to be talking about, but this is by Alyssa Avina as well from Game Rant on July 3rd, 2025. So a little bit more recent. So she starts off by talking about how the grand scale of the series introduces us to a lot of great characters and lists out a few of them. She does incorrectly say the Man in Black is a villain, but I won't hold that against her.
He is a villain.
She then goes on to say there's one character that figures largely into Roland's past, his mother, Gabriella Deshane. She says that Gabriella is the mother of Roland and the wife of the Gilead leader of the gunslinger Stephen Deshane. But she's also a very tragic character. She points out that she has been haunting Roland. She plays a haunting role in Roland's development as a hero and a critical piece between the a critical piece of the chase that starts the story between Roland and the Man in Black, which is definitely something that you could easily overlook at times on rereads, because it's just like, oh, you're pursuing the Man in Black. Like, yeah, like, but it's like once you've read the whole series and you're rereading it, like, you have the meaning from book 4 to understand, like, oh shit, there's a lot more to this than just you got to catch this guy. Like, this is still the guy that, tricked you into your trial of manhood. So a lot of hatred there. So. She says that there's one really great choice for this role, and that could bring to life this tragic and crucial role. And she says Kate Siegel.
Oh, yeah.
Is Gabrielle.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
Absolutely.
So she recaps the biography and the past of Gabrielle, which is not super critical to cover here because we kind of know Gabrielle's story. She says, rightly, I think, that Kate is a powerhouse of emotion with a resume full of strong characters, and she could bring a gravitas and tragedy to Gabriella. She says that Kate has the ability to haunt audiences with one breath. She could have them in tears with a gut-wrenching twist of the knife, or could have them in tears and with a gut-wrenching twist of the knife in the next kind of have people reeling. She calls her a real standout in virtually every project she's appeared in. She also brings up that Kate is a huge constant reader and a fan of the Dark Tower, so she would understand the assignment. So I have to imagine that, if she wasn't a constant reader, getting married to Flanagan probably helped that along quite well. She says that Gabrielle and Susan are the two most impactful people on Roland's emotional state, and the basically the foundations of the walls that he would put around his heart. That's all a result of these two women and the tragedy that befell each of them, as well as his part in both said tragedies. So that's mostly her arguments and stuff there, but here's my thought that kind of sparked from this.
Okay.
So I think this is a strong argument, and I will go one step further. What if Roland is actually haunted by her throughout the series?
Oh, she's just there constantly, like, whispering in his ear and stuff like that. Shows up at random points.
Similar, but let me expound upon this. Maybe not just her. What if Roland had a bit of a Christmas Carol thing going on?
Okay.
He's got 3 people that'll be showing up throughout, and for us on screen, we would see them showing up at different times for different purposes. We would have Court,
Obviously.
Stephen Deshane, and Gabriella Deshane.
Okay.
Those 3.
His mother, father, and number 1 teacher.
Yeah. So, and see them throughout the story. So Court, I could see being very verbal, literally speaking the lines that we hear Court give in Roland's head in the books. Like, you're not going to hear those because you can't be inside Roland's head unless you unless you legitimately have an actor. Now, that could be a disembodied voice that we hear on screen. But what if it is you just see him in the background?
Look again, maggot.
Yeah, you saw something else type thing. So basically bring that memory from the book to life. Then Gabriella, I could see as never speaking as part of the visions. And she's just, in vision form. But she looks at Roland and looks, her look with varying emotions, which we know that Kate could pull off very well.
Oh, yeah.
What could she do? I mean, if she'll have lines when she's in like the flashback stages and she's in the flesh, but like when she's just a specter, I think she should 100% be voiceless, and it should all be about how she's looking at Roland and the varying degrees of her emotion. Kind of could basically give us an insight into Roland's like what he's feeling, like the shit that we're going to see in the books, because King can give us the internal thoughts, but Flanagan will never have that ability to truly say like, and Roland like whatever. So one example is when Roland promises Jake that he won't let him drop again. What if his doubt that he has in the book immediately? How do you portray that on screen? Well, what if over the shoulder of Jake he looks up and sees his mom giving him a quizzical look, like, "Are you serious? Do you think that's real?" Like she would do great. I don't think either of us can necessarily even probably come up with the way that she would give the look.
No,
but give a look
amazing.
to where like every audience member knows like, oh shit, like she's calling his bullshit, type thing.
And then have it, it would really be like a dagger in the heart. Is after Eddie dies, just have her whisper something to Roland. We don't hear it, but just have her whisper something to him.
Yeah.
Like she leans in and you just see her mouth moving, but you don't hear what she says. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's all internal. It's seen on screen, and we get all of it just from the look that Kate gives as Gabriella, as Roland what he sees her look at him as he says that. Or maybe have some occasional dreams where he can speak to her. Maybe there's even just dream sequences where she does speak, because then they can converse where it's like it's a dream and you'll know it's a dream, and then he wakes up and like, but again, so that's how I visualize it. If it's in person, she's going to talk like a normal character. In a dream, maybe let her talk, but then when it's like whatever, otherwise now she's just like this spirit that kind of whatever. And then, like, for instance, when Roland resolves that he is going to die to save Jake in Maine, maybe that's him in a dream stating that to Gabriella, and her reaction there could actually be verbal, and like that can give us as an audience an indication of like, where's Roland's heart at on that, because again, that's another thing. How are you going to do that on screen? That's all internal. That's never spoken. That's never seen. Like, it's the only reason we know is because we have Roland's internal monologue. And then we can kind of see Roland's evolution towards humanity through Kate's acting, essentially. Like, throughout the thing, you'll see her looks at him will kind of show kind of where he's at on his progress. And, like, her, like, she can kind of give, like, that, like, judgmental look of, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Imagine the first time we see it is after Jake drops in the first book, and you see her, and it's just the absolute look of fucking judgment of, like, what the fuck did you just do? And like that's your introduction maybe to her altogether, and then we get flashbacks that show like, oh shit, this is his mom type thing. So let's see. And then I know that was pretty daunting, but then the tail ended though. Then with Steven, I think we could do a half measure between Gabriella and Court. I think Steven would speak sometimes, but then also be silently looking at other times. Like, so you'd almost have the 3 different things with 3 different, Court's very talkative, Steven's in the middle, Gabriella never talks, and then you just have those 3 things. Kind of like, I think somebody in the chat mentioned Carla in House of Usher, very similar. Like, kind of that
Agamorphy says her haunting Roland periodically is a bit much like Carla G in House of Usher.
Yeah, I mean, I always think of like the Joker in the one Batman game. Kind of haunting
Arkham Knight,
Batman. There's that kind of thing. Like that, like what was originally going to be the thought for episode 9 is Luke would have haunted Kylo Ren, which would have been incredible. Because imagine Mark Hamill playing a haunting
Oh,
presence.
yeah. I mean, he is the Joker. So.
And last episode we ended up, or no, that was Geekery Abides, where we found that Mark has played Joker for too long in his life.
Oh, yeah, apparently.
But yeah, so that's kind of just a thought that her article kind of sparked in me, as like, you know, like, and if nothing else, like that is almost a silver bullet to help kind of flesh out some of this internal monologue that we get in the book that you'll never be able to get in the series. The only way you can really get around that is obviously narration, and I just don't know that the Dark Tower should be narrated.
No.
Like the only exception to that is the opening line. That's the only narration I would accept. But beyond that, it shouldn't ever be narrated. Narration needs to be very, very infrequent to me. So
yeah.
Anything else I missed in the chat? It's
Agamorphy does say, Tad, I take back my comment. You explained the idea really well, so he does like your idea.
Oh, did he say something?
He was just saying like it was too close to her character in Haunting of Hill, the House of Usher. I mean, so kind of like replaying the same kind of character, because that's how she was in the House of Usher. But I think
that was Carla in House of Usher, though.
That's what he said.
Yeah, but I'm talking Kate.
Yeah, it's similar that way, that the characters would be very similar. Like, you already did that in the House of Usher, so now you're going to have it again.
I mean, I think it's, and I do think
that's why he said he took it back.
It's different.
He already took it back. Because
she's definitely more of like a, what would you call that? I mean, I know I said haunt, so that's probably the right word for Carla. But hers is like almost a fucking like harbinger of doom, right? Every time she shows up, some fucking horrible shit goes down and happens, right? Yeah. She's like a very Edgar Allan Poe-ish. So, so that's kind of a thought I had. And I do you see Kate as any other character as you've kind of thought through?
She'd make a fantastic Cordelia.
Oh, that'd be tough.
She would be a fantastic Cordelia.
Yeah.
Also, let's be perfectly honest, she could play Rhea.
Yeah.
I know we're in Wizarding Glass, so that's where my mind is at.
Yeah.
With that, so I could see her.
You know what? One that just came to mind is probably because like a little bit older is Irene Tassenbaum. There's Carla.
Oh yeah.
Gugino.
Yeah.
Have her playing Irene. That wouldn't be a bad one. So, I just thought that was kind of an interesting thought, because I do think that when you knee jerk Kate, like if we were still doing like the segments where we dreamcasted, and I think we probably did dreamcast a couple times with Mike Flanagan already. I don't remember where both of us put Carla, where both of us put Kate, but I have to imagine that it was probably at least one of us probably put her as Gabriella Deshane. It just feels like a very perfect thing, because I mean, I think of like her tragedy, how tragic she plays her character in Hill House, and I just see that and see how good she did there, and I think that like she could play that tragic, character, really stick the knife in the audience's heart when Roland treats her like shit in book 4, like, especially, dude, what if you showed the audience like the fact that she's like almost like what would you call it, enchanted, like she wasn't entirely on her own accords with Flag.
She was basically under his spell the entire time.
So it's not 100% her choice, and then so show the audience that up front, so then the rest of the time when Roland's treating her like absolute fucking dog shit, like we as the audience are just like, oh my god, dude. Or do you just let it play out to where like he's being shitty to her, we all are agreeing with him.
Real fast, when does Roland treat her like shit?
Not waving to her. Like there's a number of times he treats her like shit. Right after, between him discovering them in the room through him leaving, he's just constantly. In
his mind, he talks shit, but not to her face. He doesn't see her again until the window.
Yeah,
and that's
she's
the
there
only
when they're
time.
leaving.
Yeah, in the window up in her apartment, he doesn't wave. That's one time. He doesn't constantly treat her like shit.
Yeah.
No, really. Like, what are we talking about?
There's more.
He sees her in the apartment. He goes to his battle with Court. He goes and lays with the prostitute. He gets woken up by Steven. They get ready and they leave.
There's more there.
There's not.
There is.
No, there's not.
I'm not remembering what it is.
That's what I'm saying. You're
there's
adding things there that
no. There's more there.
Are you thinking about the stuff later on when he kills her?
I mean, there's other scenes with it. I'm forgetting what it is. I mean, the killing her is of course like when he gets back. But at that point, he's a little bit obviously worse for the wear.
Yeah.
Because of the glass. But
she has a belt for like a peace offering with him. They haven't talked. They don't talk again. They don't have another scene together.
There's something.
No, they don't. I'm telling you, they don't.
There's something. I'm certain of it.
Okay.
Spencer showed up in the chat.
Yes.
Hi, Spencer. Let's see. Ruth Cotter, Usher, Midnight Club is Rhea. I don't know who that is. In Usher. Who does she play in Usher? I guess I can copy and paste it here.
She looks like Helen Bonham Carter.
Oh God, who is she? In Usher. Yeah, she's familiar to me. Let's see what the old IMDb says. She played Juno. God, I don't remember her. I do need to rewatch all of Flanagan stuff. The only one I've rewatched multiple times is a Hill House. I've been thinking about that recently. I need to go and, for one, you've never seen
Bly Manor.
Bly Manor. You need to get on that at some point, and I need to rewatch it because I've only seen it the one time.
Juno's from Bly Manor.
The last wife of Roderick.
Oh,
that's
okay.
right. That's right. That's the one I really want to watch though, because that one's been fucking living in my head rent free since it came out. Mate, that show is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we've got more Flanagan news. Carrie is filming.
Okay.
We had a post from Rahul Kali and Mike Flanagan, both on Instagram, between June 15th and June 25th,
They're all
2025.
gonna laugh at me.
So these are
That's clever. I like that.
these are kind of all over, but the article I have that'll be in the show notes collected all of these in one place is from Bleeding Cool, which is the link I'll have in the show notes, of course. So Rahul, I found these all over the place, but I also saw them on Instagram because I do follow both of these people. They're great follows, Flanagan and Rahul.
I'm not allowed to follow people like this.
That's true. That's true. You are not allowed.
I'm not.
I mean, you're I don't know. I feel like you're so on social media. I don't think you're like necessarily as heavy of a follower when you follow stuff.
Yeah.
And I know you do like reels and stuff like that, but do you actually go through like your actual feed and look at like the people you follow very often?
Usually like the first video that pops up is my newest one. I'll
Yeah.
watch that one, and then from there it's doom
just
scroll.
gone, yeah.
Yeah, from there it's like,
Yeah, that's
so whoever shows up first, you get to watch, but everyone else, fuck
Yeah.
you. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, no, I'm guilty of that to an extent too. My problem is like I have so many people I follow, but with different like thought processes. Like I have
Yeah.
a bunch of tattoo people I follow. I got a bunch of movie people I follow. Like there's like, but
Yeah.
they're all in different genres, and it's just like sometimes I'm just not in the mood to look at like tattoo stuff. So
Yeah.
it's like if that's all it's showing me for a second, I just stop looking. So, so Rahul posted a story of him in a mirror with a shot saying "First Day
That's
on Carrie."
one thing I don't do. I never look at stories.
Oh, really?
Never.
Yeah.
I don't understand them. I'm old man standing in yard yelling at cloud.
I
look at reels. That's it.
There's maybe like I don't know 2 or 3 different like accounts that I'll look at them for. Most of them I ignore, but there's a couple where I'm like, oh, I wonder what that is. Like, I
Yeah.
wonder what that like what they show there. So he says, "First Day on Carrie." They're all gonna laugh at me, and then a frowny emoji there. So, yeah. So he's on set. He also posts on his Instagram proper. Let me get back to the right slide here so I can change the picture because I've got multiple pictures. Then he also posted on his proper Instagram, not just stories, a picture of his set chair, front and back, and the set chair is white.
That's really cool.
And it's like pretty much normal wood color with a white thing that has his name on it, and the white is splattered in blood. So very fitting for Carrie.
Yes.
So yeah, there's that one, and then we got Mike Flanagan posting a picture of the clapperboard. This one is on June 16th, and it says, "And we're off." #day1 #Carrie. Also, Flanagan's post shows the location is Vancouver, British Columbia. I don't remember if we've covered that or if that's even been covered that's where they're filming.
I don't think so.
But he has his location turned on when he posted it, so looks like they're filming.
I
in
do like to see in the
Vancouver.
comments on his post that Aaron Paul is there saying "Let's go."
Yeah, that's what I said. Also,
Hopefully that is the Aaron Paul.
oh, it is.
Oh, it is?
It is. Yeah, I follow Mr. Paul. So
Okay.
that was my next note. Also, note the first commenter still hovering in the Flanagan universe when he hasn't been pulled in yet.
God damn it, Eddie, get to work. You got to do something, man.
Also, he says, "Let's go," and then he's got a drop of blood. It's his
Yep.
emoji there. So that was kind of intriguing. Now, I do understand, I believe, like the way the algorithms work on Instagram is if like a celebrity's in the comments, that I think they do hedge those up towards the top.
Because it's like the verified account.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
like or with a lot of like followers. Because for instance, on Geekery Abides last week, we covered an Instagram post, and
Had Rosario Dawson.
Rosario is one of the
Yeah,
top comments
Rosario,
on it.
that's
So
right.
like, yeah, it's just like I think that I don't have a confirmation. I don't know if that's how it works. I don't look at Instagram enough to know, but I've
Yeah.
always kind of been suspicious that it's like high up in the comments are always like celebrities, if celebrities comment.
The verified accounts.
Yeah,
the ones
it's
with the
like,
check mark.
and the ones that probably have millions of followers.
I
right?
do want to point out that on the clapper there, right above Carrie, that's a tiara for Homecoming Queen.
Oh, okay, yeah, and
Prom queen.
It looks like it's splattered in blood a little bit too. Of course,
the whole clapper looks like it's splattered in blood. So
yeah. So it looks like that's definitely the theme that they've got going there.
I wonder why.
Also, June 16th is when he posted. Raul posted later in June. So I would say that they've probably been filming for nearly a month now.
Yeah.
Would be my guess, which is crazy because we've had a roundtable since then. I don't think we had caught wind. I think we knew they were about to film. They were getting close to filming.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like when the cast starts adding a lot of people, that's when you know like
Mm-hmm.
they're doing this because they don't want to like, oh look, we just saw so and so on a flight to where we know that this is filming, and then it gets leaked, so they just
Mm-hmm.
announce everything. So we knew it was imminent, but now it looks like we've got an absolute date on it, so that's pretty fun. So now out of the realm of what the fuck,
Oh, here we go.
Doug Liman to tackle Stephen King's epic The Stand for Paramount.
What?
This
Didn't
is-
we just do this decade?
Yeah, 2020. So this is by Boris Kitt from The Hollywood Reporter on June 24th, 2025. Now, of course,
Is Paramount not wanting to let go of the rights? Is that what they're doing?
there's no way it's going to expire in under 5 years. That's
Yeah, I know. But what if it expires in 8 years? And so they're.
then I think they
How long does it take to make a Stand miniseries, sir? When did the Stand go into production? You know, that kind of thing. So
yeah.
also, if they got the rights, that's when it debuted in 2020. But what if they got the rights in 2015? So then we're looking at 10 years. You know, like that's Fantastic Four is on my mind. That's
Yeah.
what they were doing. Fox did when they made their shitty last adaptation. It's like adaptation. We talked about it. I don't even know if we talked about it on the show or no, it was before Geekery Bites. But I'm like, why are they making this? It looks terrible. You're like, they're just doing it so they keep the rights. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're like, if they don't make a movie for X amount of time,
Yeah.
it reverts back to Marvel.
but I don't think Stephen King sets his stuff up that way.
I wonder if he did.
No, because we just covered on the last episode that he pulled the plug on the Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
He pulled the rights back from whatever
From
studio.
someone, so.
Yeah. So I think with that, I think King writes his contracts differently than Marvel. Also, Stephen King was never like nearly bankrupt when he was selling his movie rights.
That's
like
true. Marvel was. Yeah.
So, yeah. So Paramount Pictures and Doug Liman are taking a stand. The Stand, as a matter of fact. So that's his fun little opening line there that I took word for word. So Boris goes on to incorrectly call this King's magnum opus, which is of course silly. We all know that that's not true. Then says that Lyman is attached to direct the feature. Yes, feature.
A movie?
Let's let that settle for a second.
A movie? What the fuck are we doing?
And he will produce alongside Tyler Thompson. The two work together on Tom Cruise's American Made, the one where he's like a smuggler, pilot, whatever. So the adaptation is now headed to the writer's pen. It's going to be taking King's longest novel at 1,152 pages, which is
Good Lord.
very fresh in my mind that it's the longest because of this article here. So when you earlier asked me what's the longest, I'm like, well, I know Stan's number one. I want to say it's like an 800-page realm, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And I think that the Stand was originally
it's-
just into 900
I
pages.
think it's over 1,000.
Agamorphy said yes and then sigh, then double sigh.
It's between 1138 and 1184, depending on the edition.
Okay. No, there's no way, because that would make it longer than the Stand, and it's not. There's no way that's right. So he Boris also says that he believes that this is going to be one of the hottest writers jobs in Hollywood. So that's kind of interesting. So he recaps it that it's been twice made for the small screen and has been attempted by the likes of George A. Romero, David Yates, and Ben Affleck, who all failed to get it off the ground as a film. Of course, Ben Affleck was back in like 2012-ish, I think, right around the time that we were getting like the J.J. Abrams Dark Tower, like when we had those rumors, was about the same time that Ben Affleck, he had just come off of doing the Town. So I remember everyone being excited because they were talking Ben Affleck was going to do like a double feature for The Stand. But that never got off the ground. But they all failed to bring it to fruition. Sources say that Lyman and the studio have a particular take on it. So it sounds like there's an idea that they've settled on. But here's where it gets even more interesting.
Yeah.
And this feature is going to be a one-off and will not be a multi-film adaptation. This is going to be a single film. I don't get it, man.
How many pages do they say The Stand was?
1152.
Yeah, it's 1138.
I thought you said 1184.
No, 1138 or 1184, depending on the edition. So there's like extra fluff added into a couple editions. So, but typically it says 1138. So it is second. Yeah.
I mean, ultimately I am I'm the biggest Stan fan in this room for sure.
Yeah.
My first impression was like, I mean, I'll take more Randall Flagg. But I was like, why are we doing this so soon? I mean, the last one sucks, so I'm not necessarily going to say no. But then when I learned that it was a film and not just a film, but a single film, I'm like,
wait, what?
It also makes me wonder, there's other people that have had ideas and then it never came to fruition. I really wonder if this actually happens.
Yeah.
Or because they said that it's now going to go to writers. Okay, whatever idea they've got, they bring this to a writer. Now, is this writer actually going to be able to accomplish what they want to do? And I just don't. I
don't know how you cut The Stand down to a 2.5 hour movie. Even if you do 3 hours, you're not even scratching the surface of what needs to be told.
I think the only thing you can maybe do is just fucking like straight line it and pick a certain character and almost ignore
Stu.
And ignore anything
no
that doesn't.
Larry, no Fran,
and they would be there when they get to their point. But
no,
like,
no
don't,
Larry arriving back in New York.
Yes,
no Larry mom. And
don't
no Larry Lincoln Tunnel and everything like that.
Don't extend out and let everyone like essentially. And I know that I'm not saying that's the right way to tell this story because I mean I love these characters all like their family. Like that's why I read it every year.
Yeah.
I love these people. So I'm not saying this is the right way, but the only thing I could really think logically is that's the only way to make it a single film is like if you did just lock onto one character,
it has to be Stu
and follow them all the way through.
It has to be Stu. There's no other logical choice besides.
I think Larry.
You can't. He dies in Vegas.
Yeah, but then he's in Vegas at least.
So that's where you end the film is in Vegas,
or you don't have Vegas at all. If you're Stu, you just see it from the distance. Like there's no great solution here.
Yeah.
Like it's like I'm just trying to like wrap my head around what their idea might be, and because I don't know, man. This is perplexing
any other
to me.
character aside from Stu being the only logical choice if you're going to follow them from start to finish because he's the only one that's there from start to finish. Like he's there in Arnett when the virus, when Campion crashes. He's there at the end when him and Franny head back to Maine. If you're going to do The Stand and you're going to do it through, he's also the one that with him and Tom get back to Boulder and spread the news of Vegas.
Yeah.
Like you can still show Vegas, you can still have scenes without Stu in them, but if it's Stu's journey.
But I think that's where you get, it's kind of like we just found out not too long ago. Lucas was talking about like episode 3 where it's like originally he had a lot of other ideas for it, but it eventually got to the point where he's like, you know what? No, we're going to zero this down to like just being Anakin's story, and anything that isn't related directly to him gets cut. And that's where like the Birth of the Rebellion scene, one of my favorite deleted scenes, didn't make the movie because it's like this has nothing to do with Anakin. So it, as great as it is of a scene, it ended up on the chopping room floor.
But that's what I'm saying though, is like, okay, if it's only focusing on Anakin, you still have Obi-Wan on Utapau fighting Grievous. Anakin's not there, but we still see it. That's what I'm saying, is that you can still have those scenes where you do the crucifixion in Vegas, you do the stuff with the judge and stuff like that. You can still have scenes like that move the story along, and the spies,
I
and everything.
Know,
but I'm with you, man. There is so much meat on this bone that I don't know how you make it a movie.
Yeah, I mean,
a singular movie.
Ultimately, you were in the same spot because we didn't know for sure until after it debuted that we were getting a film, right? Like we were going.
I think it was like the week of that they announced that It Chapter 2 had been greenlit.
Yeah,
and we're like, oh. it's a part 1.
Yeah. So I mean, we knew that there's no, because I think they told us up front that when they were adapting it, like, we're going to do like the children's story here, and then like if we do well enough box office wise and we could justify a sequel, then we'll do the other half of the story. But like ultimately, it was like maybe it was opening weekend before they got the green light.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things that's like,
maybe it was the week after.
It was not something that we knew in advance that we were for sure getting 2 movies. So
wait, didn't they greenlight it after how good the trailer did? Because the trailer was astronomical.
No, I think
there was a movie.
They told us that like that was part of their equation.
Yeah,
but I think that there was
a movie that did that though, wasn't there?
No, I think
where the trailer was like, yeah, okay, obviously this is going to be a hit. Let's do it.
I think it was around opening weekend that they told us that they'd greenlit part 2.
Yeah.
But then when they basically said that, like, we kind of knew that this was probably going to be big because of the way the trailer did and everything. But yeah, but again, it's the same idea with it. Like, how do you do that in one movie? Because that was the thought process we had, is like, they're doing one movie here. And I think we just understood, like, hey, they're just going to do the kid's story and then move on. But it's like, The Stand doesn't have that clear line of delineation where you could just, like, cut at a halfway point, right? And tell half the story. You can't. Like, and it also makes me worry that they're going to do the idiotic shit that the last one did and ignore the outbreak. Yeah. Like, for instance, if you followed Stu, you're going to miss the entire outbreak because he's in.
You get the containment of Arnett, and then when they end up in the CDC, that's it.
Yeah, he's in Atlanta and then Stovington. So by the time he gets out, the country's gone, and it's like, I don't know.
Agamorphy says, "How about it all flags centered?"
Now there is.
See,
let me just.
That's one I won't see that if they do that.
Oh, that would be glorious.
That's boring.
No way, man.
Boring.
He's the man. I've been rolling this over in my head for whatever it's been, a week or so now. I don't get it. I don't understand. I'm in the middle of doing my reread right now.
I just started, and we've both read The Stand so many times.
Yeah.
Because I know I haven't read it nearly as much as you. I don't think I read it every year.
Yeah.
But I've revisited The Stand at least 6 times in my 20 years of reading King, 20 plus years of reading King.
Yeah.
So I can't see it.
I think if you could potentially streamline it, not to one character, but tell most of the story, but it's going to be a 4-hour movie. Those aren't unheard of.
No.
Like, in fact, the Brutalist was 3 3/4 of an hour. I think that I went and saw.
Wasn't one of the Dune movies pretty long?
That's the thing is, I think there's been like almost a normalization of like almost 3-hour movies. I think 2 hours and 45 minutes to 3 hours and like 15 minutes that's a fairly normal thing for like blockbusters nowadays. Oppenheimer was pushing 3 hours.
Killers of the Flower Moon was 3 hours and 26 minutes. The Brutalist is 3 hours and 35 minutes. The Irishman is 3 hours and 29 minutes.
Then in the Brutalist, they also put a 15-minute intermission. So like that ended up being almost 4 hours by the time you got out. So it's like, all I'm saying is, it like maybe if they were, because like what was it It or was it The Stand? How long was It the series? Was that the one?
It's like
4 hours.
Didn't we talk about this like literally yesterday? It was like 4 or 5 hours.
One of the two is 4 hours, and one of them is closer to 6 hours, and I forget which is which. I kind of have a feeling. I feel like my camera was just working, which it shouldn't work without internet. It's saying stream is healthy, but it's not showing us on here yet. Maybe. Are we back?
Let me try.
It's showing like it's back on my side. I just had some internet outage issues, which doesn't happen very often, thank God. I of course, I don't know if everyone else is back in yet or if everyone dropped out. But I
still have a frozen video. Oh, your camera's working. I'm not.
Refresh.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Just delayed.
All right. All right.
Oh, it wasn't live. That's what it was. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, we should be live. Sorry about that.
We're back.
Yeah, we had an internet outage. It looks like
a little bump,
a little flutter, which doesn't happen very often. Thankfully, we got underground lines here, so that's usually a good thing. So sorry about that, everyone. But we're back.
Everything's working on my side now. Like the laptop here is like loading everything. So
okay, so I don't know what that's going to look like on the YouTube side. It might just be a little bit of an outage there, and then come back on, hopefully. But on the podcast side, I'll try to edit out that little dead space there for a couple minutes. So hopefully,
looks like Brocky stuck with us. Anyone else?
All right. Yeah. Sorry.
Give me a thumbs up if you're there.
Go ahead and throw something in the chat there. All right. So, yeah, ultimately, though, where I was ultimately getting is, I just don't know how this is going to work.
Yeah, by the way, you were asking what I was looking up when I realized we had an outage. The It miniseries was 3 hours and 12 minutes.
Okay. So if you can cover it all in, 3.5 hours.
Let's not say cover it all. I mean, let's be perfectly honest. There was a lot left out.
Yeah, I do wonder if there is some stuff you can cut out that is a little bit less critical to like the entire story. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, but again, that gets into the whole King quote from the intro, right? It's a Cadillac without the chrome.
I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll go through the stand and I'll get each chapter and what happens in each chapter and write it down into a spreadsheet. And I'll have you go through and just highlight what you think should be cut.
Yeah.
And see how long that would be.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that the main thing, though, is I do think that there may be some stuff that's just a little bit less necessary to the overall story.
I mean, No Great Loss obviously would be one that would go. You wouldn't need to see that.
Yeah.
There is a lot of stuff with Larry. He
Yeah.
could get back to New York, and the next day it could be the super flu.
Yeah.
You don't have the whole, week with his mom.
Yeah.
You don't have all the stuff with Fran and her parents and everything
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Especially not all the stuff with Harold.
Yeah.
In a gunkwit and everything. There is some fat there that can be trimmed. It's just that I worry what happens if you trim too much of it.
Yeah, no, I this isn't easy, and like whatever. The other thing I'd lock on to, though, is the sources say that Lyman and the studios have a particular take. So like that makes me think they do have some kind of idea that of what they want to do.
What if they're doing the Stand 2? the flagging.
Yeah. Too fast, too flag.
Too fast, too flag.
So then Boris highlights that Lyman, who has forged a very unconventional film career, he burst onto the scene with his indie darling Swingers and Go, and then hit it big time by launching the Bourne franchise of The Bourne Identity. He then managed the biggest couple in Hollywood in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and more recently did the new Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal, which is still one of the bigger streamed things in the last number of years.
Mm-hmm.
Never actually watched that.
I haven't either.
I've
never seen the original either. So.
Oh, really?
No.
I grew up on that. He also worked with Tom Cruise on The Edge of Tomorrow and American Made. So,
Edge of Tomorrow is a good movie.
I don't know, man. I'm perplexed.
We'll see what happens. I'm X for doubt on this one.
Yeah. All right. So next up, we've got. Let's go on over to The Institute. This is one that has a massive headline. Not that it's big news, but it is a very wordy headline. People here obviously don't know how to write headlines. It is The Institute showrunners explain why the new Stephen King dystopian sci-fi TV series is more timely than ever. Quote: "Children shall inherit the earth, but first they have to save themselves."
Good God.
Yeah, that's all one title. That's not like a line from the article there.
Jeez.
So this is from Lauren Malisi from Game Radar on June 30th, 2025. So the Institute showrunner Jack Bender and Ben Cavill said that say that the adaptation is more timely than ever because children are the ones leading the charge. Quote, "It was following the Parkland massacre shooting in the States, which seemed to be an epidemic in our challenged country," Bender explained to Game Radar. When asked why now was the best time to adapt King's 2019 novel in an 8-episode series, quote, "I saw those kids who survived the tragedy and came out of it as a group and became as a group that was becoming political and going to city council meetings and going around and saying while they were seniors in high school, you adults don't know. You've got nothing to do with this, or you've got to do this, you've got to do that. We can fix it, but you got to get out of our way and let us do it." And when I saw that, I thought, God bless them. They're right, and they're the future. We have screwed up as adults. And to me, those kids, when you think of the phrase "the meek shall inherit the earth," for the show, we think of children shall inherit for this show, it's children shall inherit the earth, but first they have to save themselves. That's very much, I believe, at the heart of what we thought we could be, aside from being a really entertaining, twisted, and unbelievably compelling series. I'm trying to remember. So there really isn't ever a rescue, is there? Like, we have that one adult character, and I think he plays a part in like
He finds the the main character.
The main kid.
After he escaped.
But he doesn't really rescue him. Yeah, so like ultimately this is a thing where like the kids are going to have to rescue themselves. Like if there's a rescue to be had, they've got to do it themselves.
And they get out somehow. I really need to reread The Institute. I don't remember it that well, but I know that the kids get out eventually because there's the talk at the end about what's going to happen next.
Yeah. Yeah. So then Lauren then recaps the story at the Institute, which of course we mostly all know. Quote, "That's what drew me to the story. The kids rescue themselves," Cavill adds. That in some ways you're expecting there to be an action hero who realizes what's going on at the Institute, and these kids are being victimized, and now the hero is going to ride to the rescue. But that's just not going to happen in this series. So the Institute hits MGM Plus on July 13th. So that is fastly approaching. And it's easy to forget that it is July already. So that is a week from tomorrow.
Nice.
Is when the release on that comes out. So next up we've got for the European listeners, we got Warner Brothers Discovery acquires Stephen King's The Institute for Max in Europe. This is from Elsa Kalassi from Variety on June 24th, 2025. So Warner Brothers Discovery has acquired The Institute for its streaming platform HBO Max in Europe. The MGM Plus drama will serve as will have its premiere in Portugal and the Nordics on July 14th, so the day after, so 2 weeks from Monday, and France and Belgium on July 17th. It doesn't really list any other countries, but figure we have some listeners in the European side of things, so that should be the way you guys all get access to this series. Okay. And then next up we've got Arnold Schwarzenegger.
What?
Reveals what the Running Man remake can do better than his 80s action classic.
Oh, okay.
And this is by Federico Furzan from MovieWeb on June 14th, 2025.
I gotta remember that Arnold was in a Stephen King adaptation.
Yeah, indeed. So Arnold's promoting his season 2 of his Netflix series Fubar, and he was and said this about the Running Man. He said, quote, "I mean, I love the idea that they're doing a sequel to Running Man or a remake. I don't know what it's going to be, but I mean, because I always felt that when we did Running Man was one of the movies that it did that it feels like I don't know how he's wording this kind of strangely, and I know like Arnold just speaks like Arnold. That it feels like I think it would have been great if we would have been better prepared for this movie, if we would have had more money for this movie, and if we would have had then the visual effects and technology of visual effects that they have today, all of those things I wished after the movie came out. I feel like it could have been better. It was great, but it could have been better, and I think they have a good chance now with the new Running Man to make it better, and I hope for their sake and for my sake, I hope that they are successful. So kind of a thumbs up from Arnold.
Hey, cool.
I think he thinks more highly of that movie than I do, but
yeah,
it's all right. I mean,
it's an 80s action movie. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And also Arnold's thumbs up is legendary.
Yeah, it is pretty iconic. Next up, we've got a list here that was 10 fantasy books to read if you're bummed about the Wheel of Time Season 4. So Wheel of Time, of course, got canceled by Amazon. I don't have any proof of this, but I have a suspicion that paying potentially up to $1 billion to the Broccoli family to fuck off on the James Bond series might have something to do with this being canceled. But this is by Amanda Mullen from Screen Rant on June 22nd, 2025. And of course, the only reason we're covering this is on this top 10 list. Number 2 is the Dark Tower series.
There you go.
She says many of Stephen King's best books fall in the horror category, but his Dark Tower series remains iconic, and it's an ideal one to pick up after watching The Wheel of Time for a few reasons. For one, it follows Roland Deschain on a quest narrative, and its story essentially boils down to a good versus evil. But unlike Jordan's story, its genre straddles the lines between fantasy and horror, and its backdrop feels more Western than fantasy. The way it unpacks its themes are also much different, but it's still an expansive and masterfully crafted addition to the fantasy sphere. Kind of interesting to see how fantasy folks view the Dark Tower series.
Yeah.
Wheel of Time fans disappointed in its failed adaptation will have a new one to look forward to after diving into King's books. Additionally, Mike Flanagan is adapting The Dark Tower for the small screen, so Wheel of Time fans disappointed in its failed adaptation will have a new one to look forward to after diving into King's books. With 8 novels and a TV show, there's so much to be excited about when it comes to The Dark Tower. That could prove a nice change of pace for those disappointed in a lack of a new Wheel of Time content on the horizon. So, this goes back to a long ways. Back in the day, we always used to talk about how we always loved how like people describe The Dark Tower. Like, you know, in this one, she's obviously kind of framing it towards like fantasy readers and stuff, or watchers, viewers. But it is kind of interesting to see for sure.
Yeah.
So next up, we've got moving over to the odds and ends. The first one is another wonderful, glorious Dark Tower Lego creation.
Yeah.
So this was shared in our Discord as well. This has been all the buzz on social media on the Dark Tower side of things. So there's kind of a wide shot of it. Kind of has more of the claw-like tower, more so than like the cylindrical whatever. Let me go back to this slide here so I can change the pictures. So first we got a close up of the quartet. They made some Lego figures for the quartet members. Let's
got a Billy Bumbler.
Got a Billy Bumbler. And then we also have Mordred. On the larger picture, you saw Mordred kind of on the very far back other corner from the quartet. And then we also have I also got a close up of Oi and Jake because, you know, Oi, monster, gonna attack the boy.
Stop it.
And then we also have Patrick Danville also on another portion of it there. So pretty cool. Fun little custom things going back to the wider tower there. You got roses all around it.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Pretty awesome to see the creations that people make when it comes to, you know, fandoms.
And they got the beams coming out of it.
Yeah, the beams. Oh yeah, that's true. The beams got beams coming up. I also think if you look on the face that's a little offset face it from the camera on the left hand side about midway up, I think you could see the Crimson King there. You kind of have to zoom in, but I do think there's a Crimson King figure up there on the balcony, so that's pretty cool. All right, next up, we've got an interview about the Shawshank Redemption by Frank Darabont, where he talks some what ifs. So this is a 2019 interview, but for some reason, everyone on the fucking internet rediscovered this recently. Okay. I had multiple places that were like talking about this. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, new interview for Darabont. And I went and like, I always try to backtrace to the original text. And I found the USA Today article, and it said something about the 20-something anniversary. I'm like, it's not an anniversary. I'm like that came out in 1994. I'm like, that would have been last year. And even then, I'm like, I don't think the math works out. And then I looked at the date and saw 2019. I'm like, oh my God, this is old. Like, why the fuck is everyone covering this? Either way, it's interesting though. So it seems a number of places have seen it. It's all over my alerts. So the first thing is that apparently a very young and relatively unknown actor was almost cast as Tommy, the young rocker type guy. This young unknown actor's name was Brad Pitt.
Oh yeah, I did see this.
Oh, have you seen something about this?
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. He pulled out of the film so he could star alongside Tom Cruise in Interview with a Vampire. I think he had done one film before this, so he's relatively unknown. Another unknown coming from the stage world to the screen was supposed to play the dastardly Boggs, and one that they auditioned and they were going to pick was an unknown stage actor named James Gandolfini.
Hey,
Mr. Tony Soprano. James wound up pulling out to play a bigger role in True Romance. So a few people pulling the plug to go on bigger roles. And then also mentions that Tom Cruise is actually also gunning for the role of Andy Dufresne at an earlier portion. And at a certain point, Castle Rock was involved, and they were going to do it. And apparently there was some talk about maybe buying Darabont out and then having Rob Reiner direct it. And it sounds like Tom Cruise was a lot more interested if he were directing because he's more experienced. Darabont, this would have been his first major production that he would have directed, and apparently Tom Cruise was like not down on the idea of Darabont, but he was a lot more nervous about it. And it does also sound like Darabont kind of gives the vibe that he wasn't really interested in Tom Cruise for the role because Tom Cruise obviously was very well known, very also very like traditionally attractive and stuff, and he's like, that's not really what I pictured Andy as. So Doesn't sound like that was actually going to pan out,
I
but
wonder how many stunts Tom would have done in the Shawshank Redemption.
he wasn't doing his stunt thing is actually fairly new. I mean,
Oh, is it?
he's done stunts a bit over the years, but like this whole like absolute crazy obsession with stunts is a lot more recent. Not to say he didn't do stunts, but I think earlier in his career too, I think there was a lot of insurance places that would pull the plug on productions. So I think he kind of got bullied into not doing a lot of stunts earlier in his life. Next up we've got guard your wallets here. There's a limited edition It coming out from the place called Folio Society. It is an extremely limited edition. They're only doing 500 copies, and there's a picture of it on screen here.
Ooh.
The nightclub in the chat, Tom Cruise would have actually crawled through a river of shit for Shawshank Redemption. He really would have crawled through the tube.
Yeah, absolutely he would have.
There we go.
Disgusting.
Oh man. Or he would have been like dangling from the poles when he's like lowering himself behind the walls. It would have been like this crazy stunt. So this is a pretty cool looking book cover. Like I said, I looked this place up. There's no indication on price right now. It sounds like it's later this month that it's going to go kind of. They do like a certain date, a certain time. It goes on sale and they sell until they sell out. There's only 500 copies. But I went and looked at their website. Most of the books they had there, they were charging anywhere from $80 to $120. So they're very limited with their releases. So pretty cool though. Can you see the face on the cover?
Yeah,
that's kind of cool. All right,
and that balloon.
Yeah, the balloon is great. Next up, we have. Make sure. There we go. We had Jeopardy. Had a Stephen King category.
Oh, do I get a play?
Indeed.
All right.
So you know the rules of Jeopardy.
It's a form of a question.
So the 200, Stephen King for 200. Okay. The entity of It appears in many different forms, including as Pennywise, one of these circus performers.
Wait, what is It?
No. The entity of It appears in many different forms, including as Pennywise, one of these circus performers.
Oh, what is a clown?
Yeah.
Okay.
For 400, the cat brought back to life in this novel is called Church, short for Winston Churchill.
What is Pet Sematary?
Indeed. I don't have a ding.
Yeah.
A ding button. For 600, in a story set in Nebraska, an evil being called He Who Walks Behind the Rose. Rose, referring to rows and rows of this.
What is Children of the Corn?
No. The rows and rows of what? It's not asking for the title.
Oh. But what is corn?
Yes. There you go.
Oh, okay.
For 800, pyrokinetic powers are an attribute of Charlie McGee, a daughter of government test subjects, and this book's titular character.
What is Firestarter?
Yes. Now this one, I will admit, I think they got a little bit wrong. They won't make you get it wrong.
Okay.
But the way it's worded, I'm like, I don't think they're right here. Sorry to be that kind of nerd. Saying that Jeopardy's wrong. But for 1,000, 2 stories from this Stephen King collection were turned into an Anthony Hopkins movie.
What is Hearts in Atlantis?
Yeah. The two of the stories are not used in that movie. There's one story used in that movie. It says 2 stories from this Stephen King collection were turned into an Anthony Hopkins movie.
Oh, okay.
There's 4 stories in that book, and only Low Men in Yellow Coats is the only thing adapted in that movie.
Yeah.
So, because like the other ones are like radically different stories. So like, sorry Jeopardy, you got it wrong. Kind of fun though, not too hard. But then again, with the nerds that are on that show, who knows if any of them are constant readers. So, next up we got Uncle Stevie Recommends. The first one on his Blue Sky, he said Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman. He said, this is a rare novel that is authentically scary. I mean, this is the Exorcist level scary. The audiobook version is good too. So that sounds intriguing. And then on Threads, he posted Model Home by Rivers Solomon, my second haunted house novel after Josh Malerman's Incidents Around the House.
See previous one.
Yeah, exactly. And every bit as good. It reminds me of Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte and Diabolique, only with a taunt commentary about racism. So got a couple horror novels that Stephen King is plugging there. And yeah, that is it for Uncle Stevie Recommends. And then the only other thing I have is I do have, let's go back here and emails.
Hey!
Tad's gonna read us what people wrote to us.
You know that's not getting deleted, right?
God damn it. There we go. It's been a minute.
All right, so yeah, it's been a couple months. Kirsty from Australia did send us one not too super long ago, but David, which is was with us in the chat at least before the crash. I don't know what's going on now. He emailed us. It said good day or good evening or good night or good afternoon to you. I'm sad that I missed the episode from yesterday, which this is last week.
Yeah.
It was one of the ones I was looking forward to the most. One of my favorite moments in the book is when Jonas gets called out as a gunslinger, as the gunslingers are being arrested. And I will tell you, David, you didn't miss that.
Nope.
We did not cover that part yet. It is the initial arrest at the
Bar K.
The Bar K is all we covered last episode. So I believe that's the next episode is the call out, I think. And then he says, but there's one moment I wanted to comment on right when Clay and stabs Kimber Reimer. He looks down at him and asks if he's going to make fun of him again. You covered that.
Yep.
Apparently the Chancellor accidentally called him gay a few months earlier, right before he dies. I really wanted him to look up at Reynolds and say, "You're still thinking about that? That's so gay." Oh man, he says it's a dumb joke, but I needed to tell it to somebody. Thanks for giving me a chance to talk about the Dark Tower because I don't get to talk to a lot of folks in the wild who are fans. I'll catch you next time. So yeah, David, thanks for the email, and don't worry, the call out for Jonas, I believe, is next episode. I haven't actually looked at the text. I did outline everything in my thing, but I have to imagine that because I mean he doesn't go to the Bar K. That's why. It's when they go connect with him leaving the Bar K and they connect with him that he's like kind of the general that's back a ways. Yeah. So when they connect with him out there on the wilderness, that's when
Roland makes the comment.
I have to imagine it's next episode.
It's got to be.
It has to be. So if it's not, King's really going to be fucking with time. Yes. Like if he jumps and spends a lot of time with like Susan and shit, is about the only chance that we're not covering it next episode.
Yeah, and I don't think we jump to Susan until after the boys are shacked up in jail. So.
Yeah, I think you're right. So I think it is next episode. So don't worry, you haven't missed that yet. But you did, yes, miss Kimba getting the old knife.
Yeah, the knife across the throat.
Good stuff. But yeah, that is pretty much it. I think the only other thing I wanted to, we have a couple minutes. The Running Man trailer came out. So
looks really good.
Exactly what I expected. It just looks so Edgar Wright. Yeah, and like honestly, it looks very true to the novel. Mm-hmm. I even caught a couple scenes in a cockpit.
Yep.
So. Would he?
Oh yeah, he would.
Would he?
Oh yeah.
That's all I'm saying, man. Because like that was the first thing I thought. I was like, they're going to change the ending. There's just no way. And then I
think we're far enough removed.
then I saw that scene of him fight someone in a cockpit of an airplane.
I wonder if the amount of backlash that they'll get would outweigh the public press, the press, because what is it? What do they say? No press is bad press.
Yeah, I mean maybe, but then again, that's even assuming that anyone would have that big of a reaction. I mean,
it is
a long time ago.
It is a long time ago in a galaxy. Wait, no.
So I mean, galaxy far, far away. Yeah, New York. That is a galaxy of its own, isn't it?
It's pretty far away.
Pretty different from us here in Utah.
Very different from us here in Utah. As one who has been to New York, so.
I still need to go to New York and visit the turtle.
You do.
Yeah, indeed. But yeah, no, I'm pretty excited for it. We got a pretty cool year of King. Of course, next
the Institute.
We got the Institute in a week, or no,
a week and a day.
A week and a day. And yeah, so we got that coming right down the pike, and then we've got the Long Walk, the Welcome to Derry, and the Running Man. We got a lot of shit coming this year. So pretty cool stuff. Go check out the trailer if you haven't seen it yet. If I do remember, I will throw it in the show notes. I don't have it on my notes here. I just remembered that, like, oh shit, like that came out since our last round table. So I'm pretty excited for it though. So we've now seen the trailer for the Long Walk. We've seen some small clips, a teaser trailer for Welcome to Derry, I would say is probably all we've seen. We've now seen The Running Man. And
did we get a teaser for the Institute?
Yes.
We did. Yeah.
So we pretty much have at least some visual of everything that we've got coming this year. Yeah. We've got our Stephen King book in the rear view mirror for 2025. Now we're looking forward to Talisman 3. So 2026, it's my guess. I'm not
I wouldn't be surprised to see it January.
I kind of have a feeling it'll be closer to like mid-year to late, like I'm talking like August, September or later. I don't think we're going to get like a February or May release, because I feel like most of King's books fall in like February, May, September-ish, or like late year, like October-ish. Like I feel like there's when you go through like our extended quartet reading list, you can look at the dates and you kind of see a pattern with his dates. I have a feeling we won't see it in February or May. I feel like that's too soon for, especially if he's his promise is legit, it's a long book. I have a feeling we'll be waiting a little bit longer. So, yeah, can't wait for it though. We'll go ahead and hit the outro stuff real quick. Sorry for everyone on the live chat side of things. We had one of our first hiccups with internet.
In a long time.
Yeah, I haven't really had. Probably since we've live streamed, I think we've had like very minimal issues with internet, thank God. So knock on wood.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and hit the outro stuff real quick. If you want to subscribe to us, you can do that on any podcasting service of your choice. You could stream us on Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, or any podcasting service of your choice. If you can find the show notes over at darktowerpalaver.com, all the articles we covered today and all the links that I mentioned will be there. If you can also support the show at patreon.com/darktowerpalaver. And if you want to contact the show, Peter can let you know the ways to do that.
Best way is to email us at show@darktowerpalaver.com. Then you can find us on Threads and Instagram as Dark Tower Palaver, all one word, no spaces. And then check us out on Blue Sky. It's at darktowerpalaver.bsky.social. And then we're also on the Twitter. It's at darktowerpod. That's at darktowerpod. And then find us on Facebook. It's facebook.com/darktowerpalaver. And then check out our merchandise. It's tpublic.com/users/darktowerpalaver. Get yourself a hashtag Tad is Terrible shirt.
Slander.
It's not slander. It's been proven. It's like a scientific fact.
Now, terrible is things like oi that attack children.
You attack children all the time.
Nah.
With your words.
With my words. Oh, that's a stretch. All right, guys, we will sign off as we always do by saying long days and pleasant nights.
Long days and pleasant nights, folks.
Boy.
All right, everyone in the live chat, thank you all for joining. Hashtag Tad is terrific. See, I like that. Thank you, Baraki. Thank you all for joining us. Again, thanks for bearing with us the technical issues. North Central Positronics. See, I made fun of them early in the episode.
And this is what happened.
And it came and bit us. So, but yeah, we will see you guys with Geekery Abides in a few minutes. Otherwise, we'll be back in 2 weeks. We're back on schedule now. So a fortnight from today, we'll be back for our book club where we're going to be seeing Jonas getting his spanking. And then yeah, we're back on schedule. Can't wait to get back into Wizarding Glasses. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. Charyu Tree is in the offing here. So the ball and all the other stuff means that we probably isn't coming up as soon as we were thinking. But I do think it's going to be sooner than we think. Like when I said, what was it, March is our last episode of Roland's Story.
Yeah.
But we still got all the other, like the travel back. Like there's a bunch of other parts of Roland's Story that we got to remember that I have a feeling that we're going to get bamboozled with Charyu Tree a lot quicker than we expect. Maybe if not this year, maybe early next year. So sounds like a lot of fun though. Can't wait for it. We will see you guys. So Geekery Abides, we don't have a URL yet. We don't have enough followers over there for that. But if you search Geekery Abides, I guess I can throw it in the chat. If you search it out, you'll find us there, and then you could, of course, subscribe and all that kind of stuff, and that'll help us. I can't remember if I remember right. You have to be like 100 subscribers before you can get your URL, custom URL. So if you want to join us over there, we're going to be talking Secret Wars, the comic book Secret Wars, both comic book Secret Wars. So, so we will see you guys over there. If not, we'll see you in a fortnight for some maybe some Rhea too. We haven't seen Corner Licking yet, so
nope, not yet.
All right, see you guys.
Bye, everyone.